It's a warm welcome in our studios, and this is Gttv News. We begin with the headlines. The man suspected of killing of HM staff has been remanded at Maltu prison after the Kanifing Magistrate Court transferred the case to the High Court. Veteran Gambian broadcaster Malik Jones has been laid to rest as cause of mourners showed up to pay their last respect to the doyant broadcaster. President Adama Barrow has expressed joy for receiving a woman writer who authored his life story in a book. A solo Gambian singer has released his debut music video while calling for more support. In internationals, South Africa's former President Jacob Zuma has been suspended from the party. At least 10 killed in overnight attack by Baloch rebels in Pakistan. Those are the headlines, and now the news in details. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is Gttv News, and I am Aisa Tukuli. Now, the Kanifing Magistrate Court has transferred the murder case of a Senegalese man accused of killing a 28-year-old woman at Westfield to the High Court. Aruna Teen, who is in his 30s, is accused of stabbing HM staff Fatoumata Kagbo to death on 19th January 2024 at Westfield. The accused appeared before Magistrate Salam Bai of the Kanifing Magistrate Court on Monday. More on this report. The suspect, Aruna Teen, arrived at the courthouse under a heavy security escort in cuffs before he took onto the dock. He faces murder charges for allegedly stabbing a 28-year-old Fatoumata Kagbo to death by knife on January 19th before attempting to take his life. When the case was called up, police prosecutor Sub-Inspector Lamin Jabe requested for the murder case to be transferred to the High Court. Magistrate Salam Bai accepted the request and cited Section 187 of the Criminal Code that stated that the lower court does not have the jurisdiction to hear capital cases such as murder. She ruled that the accused be remanded at the State Central Prison Mile 2 pending the suspect's appearance before the High Court in Banjul. According to the charge sheet, the suspect Aruna Teen is charged with murder in violation of Section 187 and punishable under Section 188 of the Criminal Code. The charge sheet added that the suspect stabbed the victim in her chest. However, the accused Aruna Teen told the court that he has nothing to say but expressed desire for legal representation. Aisa Tukoli, Gambian Talents TV News. Scores of mourners have paid their last respect to the veteran Gambian broadcaster Malik Jones, who died on January 30th. He was laid to rest at the Joshua Cemetery. The late Jones was known for his unique voice as a broadcaster. He was one of the country's top football commentators, which earned him a lucrative contract to cover the 2010 World Cup in South Africa for BBC and the 2022 World Cup in Qatar for Qatari Radio. Fatunding Shaw reports.
Mourners among who had worked with the veteran broadcaster Malik Jones described the late Jones as a good and exemplary personality whose intellectuality in journalism will be highly missed in the country. Dozens broke into tears as the doyant broadcaster was finally laid to rest at the Joshua Cemetery. Scores of mourners who paid their tribute to the deceased included veteran broadcasters Alaji Modu Diouf, Lamin Manga, Boram Boj, and Aziz Wilan, among others who had all worked with Jones at the Gambia radio and television services. He began his broadcasting career in 1980 at Gambia Radio. He has worked through the ranks from the announcer to producer, senior producer, and principal producer, and was appointed Deputy Director General of the Gambia Radio and Television Services in 2011. In 2012, he was appointed Acting Director General, and in February 2013, Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Information and Communication Infrastructure. Before his death, Jones worked as a media consultant and public relations consultant and football commentator. Reporting for Gttv News, I am Fatou Ningcho.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Now, away from that, The Gambian President Adama Barrow on Friday received in his office the author of his life book. Anna Faye was accompanied to the State House by her team, including her mother and the president of the Gambia's Writers Association. The president's life story book is set to be published in February 2024. More on this report. His Excellency President Adama Barrow on Friday received author Anna Faye and her mom Lucy Faye at the State House, who were accompanied by Dr. Cherno Omar Barry, president of the Gambia Writers Association. The President's Office and Faye Network, a publishing company, have partnered to write the life story of President Adama Barrow, which means to inspire children. The book titled The Village Boy Who Will Be President entails the story of President Adama Barrow and explains when he was a child in Mankamankunda in Central River region. Speaking to the media after a closed-door meeting with President Barrow, Anna Faye, the author, explained that their meeting with the Gambian leader as fruitful.
Today, we came to meet with the president, my mom, and myself. We are members and owners of Faye Network, and we had pitched to the president the idea of having the first time a sitting president in the Gambia has authored their life story in a children's book format. And the president was very generous when we went to interview him in sharing details, in giving us real accounts of his life story from his childhood in Mankamankunda to where he is today as the president of the country. And we capture that in this book. And the title of the book is The Village Boy Who Would Be President, the story of His Excellency Adama Barrow. And today was the first time we had the chance and the opportunity to actually present the book to him. It's a project that Faye Network has been working on for over a year. So there have been several iterations of the book. We have gone through several copies of doing edits, making sure that what was captured in the book was approved by the president. So he was very hands-on from the interviewing to each and every draft of this book. So now we're here at the final stage as we plan the book launch in February.
For his part, Dr. Cherno Omar Barry, the president of Gambia's Writers Association, said it is significant for a sitting president to write a book for children, while emphasizing that the story of the president is not a political story, rather his journey as a child to where he is today.
This book launch is significant, very significant, as Anna said, for a sitting president to have a book written by him for the children. So this is for the children. So if you read the book, you will not be reading a novel by Shakespeare, but certainly you read a book that every child would love to relate to. The story of the president, it should be emphasized, is not a political story. It's not about his political life. It's about his upbringing. It's about his journey as a child. It's about how he has to struggle. Like every other ordinary Gambian. It's very important we understand this, because the intention always, when it relates to president, we think it's political, but this is not. If you read the story, you realize that it has everything to do with the humble background of someone who eventually rose to become a president.
The book by Anna Faye is specifically penned for children aged 4 to 12. The Village Boy Who Will Be President sees President Barrow breathe new life into his journey from humble beginnings to the highest office in the Gambia. From his village in rural Gambia of Mankamankunda to the community service work that catalyzed his political ambitions. The Village Boy Who Will Be President is a timeless story about perseverance, commitment, and hope that will show children what African excellence can look like. Aissatou Koli, Gambian Talents TV. The president of Gambia Football Federation, Lamin Kababajo, and his vice president, Bakary Jambe, have spoken about the bonus debacle of Scorpions. The country's senior team players had refused to show up for training over unpaid match bonuses a day before leaving for Africa Cup of Nations. Modou Lamine tells us more.
Lamin Kababajo, who exclusively talked about the Federation's misunderstanding with the national team players over the unpaid bonuses, said after their return from the last AFCON before qualifiers that bonuses and allowances were negotiated by the Federation and then the players led by Captain Omar Colley, and we had an agreement prior to the qualifiers.
Before the qualifiers of this current one started. the natural thing, as you said, is a bonus and allowance structure, allowances by way of campaign allowances, negotiated between the federation and then the players, led by the captain, of course. And then prior to the qualifiers, we had that negotiation started.
Okay.
I remember the first call that I had with the captain, Omar Koli, was in the presence of Mr. Jame, the first vice president. It was in my car, you remember. And he advanced their proposal in figures, what they would want as the campaign allowance for the coming qualifiers, rather, what they will ask for as a bonus, win and draw bonus, for reasons that really I wouldn't want to venture into, but it didn't continue. And as the head of the football, and I know I didn't say everything will come back to BFF and me, and I will not sit to be indifferent to that situation. I renewed the negotiations again. I approached the captain, and then we made so many communications back and forth, sometimes directly, sometimes through the team manager. The last one we held was in June. It was when we played Mali in Casablanca.
Yes.
That was in June, I suppose. And we had it face-to-face now. The captain, Omar Koli, and the vice captain, Bubasane, myself, the second vice, Bufai, and the team manager. It took us nearly almost more than an hour or 1.5 hours to discuss until, where we can stop, where he said this is the minimum we could. I said, okay, now I'll also forward this to the government. I don't know if this government does pay. And since your negotiation with the minister could not proceed.
According to him, they wrote a letter to the National Sports Council as GFF, which entails every detail of campaign allowances and bonuses discussed with the team, including wins and draws. Adding that, but after several months, they did not receive a reply.
So when we came down, we put that in black and white. We wrote a letter from the Gambia Football Federation, sent it to the National Sports Council. That is the conduit. This was sent, and everything, campaign allowance for this coming qualifier, bonus structure, win and draw, and also qualification bonus for this particular thing. And that was sent. After several months or so, we didn't receive a reply, or weeks, I would say. But when we resumed the qualifiers, we prepared the budget according to that. And the budgets are sent to the Sports Council, or to the government, to the Sports Council. And naturally, they have seen the variation, of course, from the previous one to the current one. And no question was raised, even though, as we come to that later, for many reasons, the funds always provided for national team campaigns and never 100% funded by government. There's always this deficit.
Yes.
We put our heads together at level of federation. We come in and complement either by way of what we have or going for an overdraft here and there.
After securing our qualifications in our last match, when President Adama Barrow called to congratulate the team, what the team captain requested was a diplomatic passport and not asking for money, citing that money issue brought up some problems last time, and all they are asking for this time was diplomatic passport, which was granted by the president, Kaba revealed.
From that famous game in Marrakesh, the captain himself, in my presence, when he was requesting with the passport, diplomatic passport, that was even before when we are told that actually the president was going to call. I said, okay, if the president this time, I think we just ask for diplomatic passport. We don't ask for money because money last year brought some problems. This is what Omar Koli said, the interpretation of the issue. But it's what he said. And then when the call came in, I was there, the second vice before I was there, and the coach were there. After the president called and congratulated and encouraged us, he said, Mr. President, this time we are not asking for any money for qualification. We need a diplomatic passport for qualifying. His Excellency the President replied, consider it done.
Kaba continued to say the team captain Omar Koli had one time contacted him and asked about qualification bonuses.
And captain contacted me asking about the qualification bonus. I said, look, I think that's not an issue. He said, yes, what the boys are asking. I said, but the boss, but you have to tell them what you said. He said, no, I don't think, because really I didn't discuss it with them at the time, but, I think really they will need it. I said, but the problem now is you've informed the president. Naturally, the president would have informed cabinet or government about it. But the mere fact you made a commitment, without any proviso, you don't make any condition, for the explanation, we will take it on. And then, based on that statement, because we prepared the budget, The GFF prepared the budget, the technical preparation, everything, and the allowances. Because of that, we did not put it in the budget.
On a separate note, the first vice president of the Gambia Football Federation, Bakar K. Jammeh, said there are a lot of other people who are really fighting so hard to bring down Gambia Football Federation leadership, which he described as envy, adding that success breeds jealousy everywhere, and they
invited a lot of other people. Yes, there are some very vocal people that want to bring the institution down. And this happens everywhere. Success breeds, in some cases, envy. And then what we have seen, all the things that is happening since the last election cycle, there are certain people that have taken now as a pastime sharing false information about the institution, the GFF. And that is why we're not also...
Reporting for Gttv News, I am Ulamin Job.
Gambian singer Habib, who is set to release his music video, has called on Gambians to support him in order to complete his project. Funejaro reports.
The artist, who just released his debut music video titled Loved, said the single is dedicated to the country in his bid to contribute to the development of the country. He called on Gambians, both at home and abroad, to support him in order to make his music a reality, adding that he needs more support to take the country's traditional music to the international scene. Meanwhile, DJ Ama, who also spoke at the program, thought the songs of the artist as exceptional, while praising his team for putting up exceptional songs. He continued to call on Gambians to support their artists, including singer Habib. He cited that the improvement of other countries' music industry is the enormous support given to their singers and artists, as he said that it is what Gambians should also continue to do in order to push the country's music industry to the wider world. Funejalo reports for Gttv News.
From that story by Funejalo, we'll read us to our first break. When we come back, we'll look at the international scene. Stay tuned. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you've been reminded that you're still watching Gambian Talents TV News. Now to internationals. South Africa's former president, Jacob Zuma, has been suspended from the party he once led after refusing to vote for it and launching a rival organization. The governing African National Congress, ANC, announced its decision on Monday. Fekeli Mbalula, Secretary General, said Zuma and others whose conduct is in conflict with their values and principles will find themselves outside of the African National Congress. Mr. Zuma's 9 years as president from 2009 were dogged by scandal. Fatoumata Baji reports.
An official inquiry said the former president placed the interests of corrupt associates ahead of those of his country. In a process known as state capture, after he left office, he was jailed in 2021 for not appearing at the inquiry. He also faces corruption charges over a 1999 arms deal. He denies wrongdoing in all cases. Despite these issues, the ANC had tolerated Mr. Zuma, but the creation of a new party that may pose a threat was deemed a step too far. The party Okwonto Wisiswi MK, meaning Spear of the Nation, shares a name with the ANC former armed wing he once served in. In a scathing letter, Mr. Zuma's former ANC-backed followers accused him of debasing the proud history of armed struggle against the apartheid regime through the opportunistic use of military symbols. They also say MK also exists to erode the support base of the ANC. South Africa's current president, Cyril Ramaphosa, replaced then-President Zuma in 2018 and promised to clean up government. He now leads an embattled ANC into this year's general election. At MK's official launch in December, a statement was read on Mr. Zuma's behalf, saying he will die a member of the ANC but not vote for it, adding that some of its leaders behave in an un-ANC manner. and it was now his mission to rescue the once great movement. Mr. Zuma also launched highly personal attack on his successor and former deputy, Mr. Ramaphosa. The BBC's Daniel De Simon in Johannesburg says many South Africans see Mr. Zuma as representing what is wrong with the recent past and as having tainted the ANC. Yet they commands huge loyalty from some quarters. Thousands of South Africans rioted in protest at his 2021 jailing for contempt of court, and a recent poll estimates that almost 1 in 3 South Africans approve of him. It is not yet clear how far this will translate into popular support for his new MK party at the ballot box, but it is likely to cast the ANC votes. The ANC, which had its roots in the liberation struggle against the apartheid, has governed South Africa ever since white minority rule ended in 1994. Mr. Zuma, 81, had been a lifelong member of the ANC. He joined age 17 with no formal schooling and soon rose through the ranks of the ANC's military and intelligence wing, followed by top posts in his home province of KwaZulu-Natal and ultimately the deputy presidency and presidency. Correspondents said this year's election is viewed by many as the most competitive since the ANC came to power in 1994. Reporting for Gttv, I am Fatou Baji.
Kenya's President William Ruto was celebrated last year when he announced his country would be going visa-free for African visitors. But many have been surprised by the new requirements, which have introduced fresh costs and paperwork for some. Abinyasi tells us more.
Kenyan migration lawyer Davis Nyanga believes that the ETA is essentially a visa under another name. The lawyer said that from a legal perspective, there is no difference between an ETA and a visa. The only difference is that Kenyan will no longer put the visa sticker in your passport. He wondered whether the blanket introduction of the ETA for everyone, with the expectation of those from the EAC, was a way to equalize travelers, replacing an older system that saw countries categorized for entry. He wondered whether the blanket introduction of the ETA of everyone, exception of those from the EAC, was a way to equalize travelers, replacing an older system that saw countries categorized for entry. There may also be a revenue rising element, as all visitors must now pay $30 every time they enter. Previously, travelers could pay $50 for a multiple entry visa that could be valid for several years. The Kenyan authorities say the ETA system should make things easier for travelers. There is nothing unusual about the introduction of the ETAs. For example, they are used by the USA, Canada, and Australia, and the European Union will soon be requiring them. But other visa-free countries in Africa, like Rwanda, do not require any authorization prior to arrival, and there is no cost of entry for the large majority of travelers. Rwanda said it had experienced a 14% increase in African visitors a year after removing visas in 2018. It used to cost $30, but now people can come up to 30 days without paying. But for Kenya, there is a security element to the new system. Salim Saule, press secretary of Kenya's government, told the BBC that the ETA was necessary for vetting travelers, adding that terrorism is one of the global threats at the moment. So we need mechanism to ensure everyone who is coming to Kenya is not a risk to the country. Kenya has been targeted by Al-Sahaba jihadist militants from neighboring Somalia in several notorious attacks. But when it came to the effects that the ETAs could have on tourism, Mr. Saule thought that they would have no longer term impacts, and the government had projected that visitors' number will increase with the new system as it was ultimately easier to use. This debating of the bureaucratic details is a far cry enthusiasm that greeted President Ruto's original remarks about the visa-free entrance last year. He had said that greeted President Ruto's original remarks about free visa entry last year. He had said that they have visa regulations left, right, and center. When people cannot travel, we are all net losers. The move was led as part of a Pan-Africa vision of frictionless movement and a trade on the continent. Economists have said easing travel restrictions is necessary for the African continental free trade, which aims to create a single market in Africa. There has also been the vision of creating a single African passport. But now, something, it might be Kenya, that could lose out with its increased demands on many African travelers. Rwanda's president, Paul Kagame, helped launch the African passport in 2016, but it is not widely used. Several countries, including Ghana and South Africa, Botswana and Zimbabwe, and the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda, introduced bilateral visa waivers deals, while Angola introduced visa-free entry for 98 countries, including 14 African nations. 4 countries, Benin, Rwanda, Seychelles, and the Gambia, are now visa-free for African nationals. However, there is a long way to go. 30 countries still require the citizens of more than half of the countries on the continent to obtain a visa ahead of travel. Libya, Sudan, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, South Sudan, and Egypt are some of the states with the strictest visa requirements. Reporting for Gttv News, I am Abinyas.
At least 6 fighters and 4 security officials have been killed in an overnight attack in Pakistan's southern Balochistan province. Jan Akanji, the provincial information minister, on Tuesday said the attackers belonging to the Balochistan Liberation Army targeted military and security installations with guns and rockets in the city of Marsh, 65 kilometers, 40 miles south of Balochistan's capital. Lamin Sani reports.
As they faced resistance, the attackers moved to less secure area, focusing their assault on the Mark police stations. An official told Al Jazeera on condition of anonymity since he was not authorized to speak with the media. In a statement shared with Al Jazeera, the Black claimed the responsibility for the attack, saying its freedom fighters conducted the operations. Black is a bandit army group that is part of a broader rebellion in Balochistan, Pakistan's largest and least populated province, which bordered Iran and Afghanistan. The province is also the country's poorest, despite being rich on mineral resources and vast reserve of natural gas. A man walks past jarring trucks containers touched by army Baloch rebels, Banaras Khans, AFP. Sujakasi, the Inspector General for Prisons in Balochistan, said the attack caused minor damage to the police station and the adjoining prisons, where, he said, 800 inmates, including 90 on death row, were safe. He added that there was some damage to the doors and windows were broken, while some staff quarters used by officials were mildly damaged. Mark resident Iqbal Yusuf said a large explosion occurred around 9 p.m. 1600 GMT on Monday, followed by gunfire lasting for nearly 12 hours adding that the explosions damaged windows of my house. After that, firing started and intermittently went until at least 8 a.m. to Tuesday morning. The Decade or rebel movement in Balochistan accused the Pakistan government of neglecting its resistance and unfair distribution of resources. The rebellion has seen several attacks on Pakistan's security force and Chinese citizens working in province on the $60 billion China-Pakistan Economic Corridor CPEC, triggering a forceful response from the Pakistan state. Allegations of human rights abuse, including extrajudicial killing and disappearance of active Baloch individuals suspected of supporting the rebellions have been frequently made against the security force. The attack came amid heightened global attention on Balochistan following an Iranian airstrike and a month-long sit-in held by Baloch people in the capital, Islamabad. Last month, Iranian forces struck inside Pakistan territory, killing at least 2 children on the outskirts of Pangu city in Balochistan. Iran said its attack targeted another armed group, Jais al-Adil, based in the province. Pakistan launched a retaliatory attack 2 days later, killing at least 9 people described by Iranian media as non-Iranians. Islamabad said its response was based on credible intelligence that some army groups had been given sanctuary in Iran. The Baloch protest in Islamabad followed the killing of a young man who stated officials claimed was a rebel, a charge denied by his family. After their protest in Balochistan failed to meet their demands, the Baloch protesters made their way to Islamabad in December for a week-long sit-in. As Pakistan prepares for its general election on February 8, security analysts caution that Baloch separatists have already denounced the polls. Reporting for Gttv, Lamin Sane.
That brings us to the end of this news bulletin. But before we take a leave of you, here is the recap of the top stories once again. The man suspected of killing of HM staff has been remanded at Malto prison after the Kanifing Magistrate Court transferred the case to the High Court. Veteran Gambian broadcaster Malik Jones has been laid to rest as cause of mourners showed up to pay their last respect to the doyant broadcaster. President Adama Barrow has expressed joy for receiving a woman writer who authored his life story in a book. A solo Gambian singer has released his debut music video while calling for more support. In internationals, South Africa's former President Jacob Zuma has been suspended from the party. At least 10 killed in overnight attack by Baloch rebels in Pakistan. Well, that's it from our tonight's news bulletin. Do join us for another interesting programs coming ahead. Until then, do have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.